Okay. We left off 270. We're going to get back to the Be'er Alocha. After we do this, we'll go back to the Be'er Alocha. Page 270. Mechaber. Sukkah v'noyo asur gam kol shmini. The sukkah and all its decorations are actually permitted till the end of the 8th day. The end of the 8th day. Because we sit in the sukkah on Shmini Atzeres. We're talking about outside of Israel. Sukkah v'noyo asur gam b'shmini. This is even in Eretz Yisrael. We'll discuss this. Right? Outside of Israel, when Simchas Torah, Rabbi? The 9th day, right? You have Shmini Atzeres, then you have Simchas Torah, it's another day. It's the same day. Okay? The sukkah and all its decorations are muktzah until after Yom Tov. Shusafik Shmini. V'imchal Shabbos b'motzoi Yom Tov Achron Shel Chag. Nogim shel l'stapik minoi sukkah ad motzoi Shabbos. And he says if Shabbos falls out after that, let's say Simchas Torah is Erev Shabbos. Right, it happens. Simchas Torah is Erev Shabbos. What? So it falls out Erev Shabbos. So then, really it's the 10th day. Right? So are you permitted to benefit from the decoration of the sukkah on Shabbos? You have an apple hanging. Could you? Yeah, but you have... No, so it was Friday. Some say it's Friday. So we're saying the reason Shmini Atzeres, because we say Simchas Torah may be Shmini Atzeres. So now you're after Shmini Atzeres. You're after the 9th. But if it comes, Shabbos follows. So if Shabbos follows, you're permitted to benefit from the decorations on the 10th. The 10th day. No, we're talking muktzah. Is a muktzah. Now, that's been where you're permitted to sit there. Well, so we'll discuss it. Noagim, he says, Noagim shall stapik mi sukkah ad motzoi Shabbos yish matirin. The custom is not to benefit from the decorations of sukkah until after Shabbos is over, but there are others that are matirin. They permit it. Now let's discuss it just a little bit. There's a question Tosas asked in Be'er, Tosas Sukkah asked this question. We say if you have an egg laid 2 days Yom Tov, you have an egg laid on the first day, you permit to eat it on the second day. Why you permit to eat on the second day? Because he said monav shach. But we rule that something which is muktzah bein hashmashos, something permitted to benefit bein hashmashos, you can't benefit for the duration of the Shabbos. So even though, so factually, when, let's say the second day is Yom Tov. Second day may be Yom Tov. This egg, when Yom Tov began, were you permitted to benefit from it? Right? You weren't permitted to benefit from it. It was off limits to you. Because you didn't know exactly when the new day was starting. Right? We don't know exactly when the day ends and when the day starts. Right? So over here, factually, the second day, that egg you couldn't use. And we have a principle, keeping this katzoi ben hashmoshes, it's katzoi l'kol yoma. Anything that's muktzah on the entry point, it's muktzah for the duration. So even if you can apply the mamon of shoch, if yesterday was Yom Tov, today's chol, so that's not a problem. But the second day be Yom Tov, and when Yom Tov began, were you permitted to benefit from this egg, to eat egg? And the answer is no. So it should be muktzah on the second day. No. Halachically, this egg, even as a suffix, you were not permitted to benefit from this egg at the entry point. This egg was not available to you. Doesn't make halachically, it doesn't make a difference. But factually, you were not permitted to benefit from the egg. So if you weren't permitted to benefit from the egg, it's off limits. Factually, you couldn't use the egg. Halachically, your hands were tied. So if your hands were tied, anything, we have a principle, anything that's muktzah, you had to conduct this as if it's muktzah for the duration of the upcoming day. It should be muktzah. That's Tosa's question in Sukkah and in Be'er. What? Keeping this katzoi? Monash means either way. So he's saying, even if we say, on the Torah level, there's only one day Yom Tov. So we say, let's say it was late on the first day. If the first day is Yom Tov, so what is the second day? Ordinary day. So definitely you're permitted to eat the second day. And if the first day was an ordinary day, so when was it late? It was later on the ordinary day, so of course you could eat the second day. That's a monavshach. Either way, with a 2-day Yom Tov, on the second day, it should be permitted. But it doesn't make, but Tos says, but factually, you weren't permitted to eat that egg or touch the egg. Right? Halachically, you weren't permitted. That's Tos's question. Okay? So Tos's answers that whenever we say the principle, we say muktzah, bein hashmosh is the entry point, it's because you can't use it then because of the mo of then. Yeah? Here, it's the reason why it's off limits to you is because you're not sure if the previous day ended. It's not because something at this moment. You understand? I'll give you an example, right? So the egg, why can't I use it at the entry point of the second day? Because it's still maybe the previous day, right? That's the reason. It's not because of the upcoming. I'll give you an example. You have a candle that's burning at the entry of Shabbos. Then it's a 3-hour candle. Then the candle goes out. When the candle was burning at the entry, and you knew it was going to go out, that oil in that candle, and there's going to be definitely a residue of oil later when it goes out. It's only going to burn for 3 hours. That oil at the entry point of Shabbos couldn't be used. Why couldn't you use it? Because the entry point of Shabbos, it was what? It was you couldn't extinguish it because it was burning. Since that has nothing to do with what happened before, it's because what was happening then at that moment. But here, what's the reason why you can't benefit from the egg or eat the egg at the entry point? What's the reason? Because I'm not sure whether it's the first day or the second day. But if I definitely would know it's the second day, the egg would be available to me based on the monavshach, with the monavshach, right? So therefore, he says, therefore it's not muktzah. But he says, what would be a case? Let's say you have a sukkah, bein hashmoshes. Sukkah going into Shmini Atzeres, 7th day going into the 8th day. Even if you live in Eretz Yisrael, you're not permitted to benefit from the noise sukkah on the 8th day. Why? Because the halacha is that what happens if a meal should present itself bein hashmoshes from the 7th day into the 8th day? There you have to eat in the sukkah. It's a safek d'oraisa l'chumrah because it's still maybe the 7th day. So there, it's something you're obligated to do at that moment. It's not how you have to conduct yourself regarding the status of an object. At this moment, I have to conduct myself like a sukkah on a factual level. I have an obligation to eat in the sukkah at this moment. So since my obligation is at that moment, therefore, it's that moment going forward, the sukkah had to be what? Was a viable sukkah. Therefore, it's considered kivin das katzoi. So it's not because I didn't know when the time was here. It's something which is effective at that time. You have to make a differentiation. It's not something that's off limits. It's a function. It functioned as a sukkah bein hashmoshes. Because if a meal should present itself, you had to have that viable kosher sukkah at that moment to use that sukkah. We didn't get to the 9th day yet. It's 8th day, same thing. Because the end of the 8th day is like in Eretz Yisrael, the end of the 7th day. Right? So now the question is Shabbos. So Shabbos is something, now we have a problem with Shabbos. Shabbos should be like the egg, right? Shabbos, simple you definitely don't eat in the sukkah, right? But still, on the 8th day, you can't benefit from the decorations. So we just said because going into the 7th, into the 8th day, bein hashmoshos, if you would want to eat a meal, you have to have a viable sukkah. No, something explain. So going into let's say in Chutz La'aretz, going to the 9th day is like going to the 8th day in Eretz Yisrael. You have the same sfeik yoma, maybe Shmini Atzeres. No, but Shmini Atzeres may be the 7th day. So maybe this bein hashmoshes, you have to eat in that sukkah. If you want to eat, let's say at the end of Shmini Atzeres, you want to eat a meal. Are you permitted to eat in that? But the question is, what happens if Shabbos now follows the 9th day? Then that should be like the egg, right? That should be like the egg already, right? No, let's say, now he says, some hold that if Shabbos follows, Simchas Torah is Friday. Shabbos, some hold, the noise sukkah not even permitted on Shabbos, which is the 10th day. No, Simchas Torah, why? No, but now, because bein hashmoshes is going into the 9th day. It's like the 7th day, and they're still going into the 8th day. But if you're going from the 9th into the 10th, that's like the egg being laid. Correct? The ninth day is only not, it's off limits, it's of course keeping the skatsoi. But when you're going from the 9th into the 10th into Shabbos, it should be permitted on Shabbos. So that's what I'm saying. That would be the basis for Yesh Matirin. He said the minig is it's not permitted, but there's those who do permit it. Wait a second. The Yesh Matirin we understand. The Yesh Matirin is like the egg, so we have to understand the Yesh Osrim. Why is the minig ta'aser? She definitely should be permitted. If the egg is permitted, this should be permitted. So good. So this is based on the Gemara in Be'ah, because the Gemara says that if you have an egg which is laid Friday, you can't eat it on Shabbos. Friday, Yom Tov is Friday, and Shabbos is what? Shabbos is Shabbos follows. So you have the same Monavshach, right? So it says because there it could lead to a misunderstanding. Shabbos following Yom Tov is more serious than 2 days Yom Tov, because you have 2 days of what? You have 2 days of Kedusha. Because you could have Friday, could be Yom Tov, and Shabbos is Shabbos, regardless what it is. Even if Shabbos is a weekday, right? But Shabbos is Shabbos. Even if Yom Tov is on Shabbos, but even let's say it's really not Yom Tov, but it's still Shabbos, right? So because there could be confusion, that's the reason why the Gemara says you should. There's one opinion in the Gemara, you should be machmir. So an egg which is late Friday, you should not eat the egg on Shabbos. Friday Yom Tov going into Shabbos. Sure. So that would be similar to this, going from Simchas Torah into Shabbos regarding the decoration. We'll see.
But an egg laid on noon on Friday, you eat it on Shabbos.
No. The halacha is not this way. That's what I'm saying. If it's laid on the first day Yom Tov, you can eat it on the second day Yom Tov. Because we have this Monavshach concept.
Just with Shabbos, no ordinary Friday.
Definitely, because it was later in the weekday.
Okay.
No question. Here we're talking about with Friday's Yom Tov.
Yeah.
Okay? Hago Yesha Nogu. Okay, everybody's aware of this. There's a big ceremony. Right? They used to make a big thing over this. The women, everybody go on the sukkah. In Yiddish it was called Mezegen sich von der Sukkah. Right? Mezegen sich von der Sukkah. You know, Munkach, you don't know Yiddish. Mezegen sich. You're taking leave. No, you're taking leave of the sukkah. You're saying goodbye. You're saying goodbye to the sukkah. Yeshanogu shno yotzim in a sukkah yomrim yirotze sheniska leishev b'sukkah shel Yosem. They would say, and it's on the bottom of the things, very often it says, we should merit to sit in the sukkah made of the skin of the Leviathan, the Leviathan. Vosalochen b'yom tiv letzorch leil yom tiv. On Shmini Atzeres, you can't prepare for Simchas Torah. Tukun chutz la'aretz. It's yom tiv, right? You don't prepare from one day to the next, right? If you want to warm up food or cook 2 day yom tiv, you have to wait minimally 42 minutes until after Shkia, right? Because otherwise you're preparing from one day for the next. Because if the second day is chol, it's preparing from Yom Tov to Chol. You're not permitted. Right? That's the reason if you have Friday into Shabbos, we make an Erev Tavshilin. You make an Erev Tavshilin. Okay, so what is the Erev Tavshilin? But on the Torah level, you're still preparing from one day to the next. You're not permitted. You're not permitted, even from Yom Tov to Shabbos. So this whole question, we once discussed this in the Mishna Berura. Mishna Berura says you don't have to daven early. You don't have to daven early. No. As long as the food is edible before Shkia, Hol is only Drabanan. So if Hol is Drabanan, you have Erev Tavshilin. So therefore, on a Torah level, since it was edible, that's enough. You didn't violate it. That's not called preparing from one day to the next. We have a principle, Hol Miklo Yorchen. Guests may come. So since guests may come, so therefore, you're prepared for the day itself, even though your intent is for the next day. So you're not in violation. But what happens if the food's not going to be ready? You put it up on the fire to cook. It's semi-edible, and it only becomes edible at nighttime. So then you cooked, you prepared from one day for the next. So it's a shaila in the Gemara, are you permitted to prepare from Yom Tov Shabbos or not? So Mishna Berura says, since it's unresolved in the Gemara, it's best to put up the food earlier, that it should reach an edible state before Shkia. So therefore, it's only rabbinically osur. Rabbinically, you're not permitted normally. But over here, that you made the Erev Tavshilin, so that covers it. Because we're dealing with 2 rabbinic laws. Okay? That's the Mishna Berura. But you don't have to daven early. That's a Passaic innovation for North Bergen County. No, so therefore you're forced to have the food ready earlier.
Oh, I see.
Because once they bench shlich, then they're not going to put anything on the fire afterwards.
Well, like Shmini Atzeres is not really considered sukkah because you don't even say the bracha when you eat in the sukkah. So why aren't we
Because it's a Sveikah Yoma. It's a Sveikah Yoma. Right? We have a principle, Sofi Brachos Loch. Whenever you're in doubt regarding a bracha, we don't say a bracha. But yet we sit in the sukkah. Because that's a Sofi Doraisa. That's a Torah question. Right? Bracha is only rabbinical, so we're lenient on bracha. Okay? You're not permitted to set up the tables on Yom Tiv and the chairs to reset the dining room for what? For the nighttime. You know?
So you say the bracha at the end.
Davi Achona.
Yeah, so you say the bracha, you say this you yourself,
Before you leave the sukkah.
and then you're usher, or
No, they speak something is telling various things. Various things. That we say. Okay, we said it on Yom Tiv. You realize you're not going back any longer. You finished eating. So you take leave of the sukkah. When you take leave, you say, Yiratzon, we should merit to sit in sukkah of Leos. Now he's saying something else. In terms of preparation, you're not permitted to pierce it. Even taking the tables. That you shouldn't do. Even though we had it's into the house and the chairs, setting up the dining room, that you shouldn't do. That's called achon. But he said earlier that on Shmini Atzeres, or on the set, right? We take our kalim we bring in. We do bring into the house. So why isn't that hachana? The tables and chairs is hachana. But to bring your dishes and pots or whatever you have in the sukkah into the house, that's not hachana. Normally you'd leave it out there. Normally you would leave it out there. The challah board. No, that's understood.
but then if you do leave it out there,
Look, let's say it's about to rain. You don't have an awning. And you don't want your table and chairs to get wet. That's not hachana. You bring it in the house because now you don't want it to get wet. Here it's specifically bringing it in because you want it in the house for tonight. That's preparation.
because that would be muktzah on a regular Shabbos. You couldn't do that. You couldn't take the chairs and
Why not?
put it back there.
Sure you could.
It's
Why not?
outside of the house.
No, it's on your deck. You have an Eruv. We have an Eruv. Why can't you do it?
So if you don't have an area.
That's carrying. Then of course you couldn't do it. You don't need hachana. Then it's not because hachana. You're not permitted. It's not because you're preparing for the next day.
Because it's muktzah. It's a muktzah status.
Why is it muktzah? The table's not muktzah. Chair's not muktzah. He's looking for chumash, this guy. Only looking for chumash. You're hanging around the tower too much. Okay.
So why can't you say that you might use the table because you might want to
If you need it, no. Sure, if you need table...
might come.
No, but again, you're eating in the sukkah. You're still eating in the sukkah. Are you eating the sukkah? You finished with the sukkah. You bring it in, not because there may be guests coming. So good. Are you permitted to eat or you're not permitted to eat?
You always
No, you're permitted to eat in the house.
yeah.
So if you're permitted to eat in the house, let's say the women, you need another table for the women now. So you can bring it in. Always you can bring that in.
It's a regular plea.
But here we're bringing it for, yeah, it's a regular clay. Here you bring it in to prepare to set up the house for the nighttime.
In a situation when Torah and Friday, and then we're going on Shabbos. So when are you allowed to prepare for Shabbos?
You have an erev tavshil. You do cooking, anything.
Setting up your dining room.
That's you made erev tavshil. Erev tavshil allows you to do all that.
Do all that.
It's not a problem.
So basically, after we say after Friday the lunch meal,
Yeah.
that I think is the next meal will be Shabbos.
Right. Just like cooking. It's no worse than cooking. That we're going to get back. We're going to get back to the Be'er Aloha. Normally, there's a question. The decorations take on the same status as the sukkah itself. It's one. It has to be that even the first day, that it never was seen as part of the sukkah. But once you see it as part of sukkah, it carries through. See, because the Gemara says sukkah is a continuous mitzvah. Esrog, because you have the nights interrupting, so each day is a separate mitzvah.
Concept that it's saying that you can benefit from the decorations of the sukkah.
You have fruit, you have wine, you have things hanging. and you want to take it down, and you want to use it.
But
Right.
it's part of the sukkah, so you can't.
You can't. It's called, like we had earlier, you want to eat your esrog after you yotzei. Since it was designated for a mitzvah, you're not permitted to eat it.
So if that bottle of wine,
It's not booked in terms of touching it.
but if that bottle of wine wasn't hanging, it was sitting on a table.
Which is not it's not a decoration. No, we're not talking take it in. Two different concepts. One is hachana, one's muktzah. Two separate things we're discussing here. You have a table, a bottle of wine at the table. And you normally take things in the house. That's not called hachana. Right? You don't want it to should be a mess outside. That's why you bring it in. You bring all the furniture in. That's something else. Has nothing to do with the messiness of your deck.
But if you wanted to take that bottle of wine and use it in your house,
What's wrong?
yeah, no,
When do you want to use it? Tonight or for now?
no, for Shabbos.
And it's clear you bring it in, and normally you wouldn't bring in the bottle. So if you normally would bring in the bottle in either case, then it's not a problem. But it's clear the only reason why you're bringing it in is for tonight, then you're not permitted to bring it in. Unless you have an Erev Tavshilin. If we Friday going to Shabbos, it's not a problem, because it's no worse than cooking. But that's the gula, but it has to do with the Shechina. That is equivalent. Correct. Okay.